another week, another batch of bagels. And I think I like making these more than like actual regular bread, which is good because my family loved them some cinnamon raisin. And while you can just add all of the ingredients in at the beginning, for some reason I like to add the cinnamon and the raisins like after the initial mix. So if you're wondering how much I'm using, I can help you. I know the raisins are about an ounce because I use like those little mini boxes, but the sawdust, I just sprinkle it in until it looks about right. Like I saw a TikTok the other day that was saying that our parents and our grandparents have got to start writing recipes down because it don't make no sense how the generations that come after them have to suffer not being able to enjoy family traditions and meals that they grew up on, basically dying with them. And while I may not have children, I'm not without the opportunity to still nurture. So as long as you want to watch these videos, I'm happy to share them and hope that you and your family can enjoy them. So basically, I need to get it together. Oh, remember the step-by-step sourdough guide that I posted? Well, this is the second jar that I keep in the fridge to add my discard to. You can see the hooch that has started to develop on the top. Hooch is the sheer black liquid that starts to emanate when all of the bacteria have basically eaten through all of the starch. Unfortunately though, Dorilla, my rye starter, was accidentally thrown away, so I grabbed the discard for that out of the refrigerator as well, but unfortunately, it didn't make it. As you can see, it's grown mold, and as I said before, you cannot save this. So now it's garbage, but it's okay. We can just start over. This is why it's convenient to keep your discard, because if your starter ever expires, then you have a plan B. My go-to when I don't feel like actually cooking is braised tofu. One, because I always crave spicy food, and two, because you don't necessarily have to worry about cooking the tofu perfectly so that it doesn't stick to the pan. It's just gonna simmer in some liquid, you can kind of forget about it, and it'll slide right out of the pan when you're done. And three, because onions, obviously. Now, I accidentally deleted the footage, but I did add silken tofu and oat milk along with this cold brew to make the base for a chia pudding. But if you've seen me make this before, any of the many times that I have, I always use cashew cream, not milk, cream, because it makes the best consistency. Like, I swear by it. And if you've ever had store-bought chia pudding, you know it can be weird. The problem isn't the chia seeds, it's the recipe. And as particular as I am about texture, I'm just as particular about my cleaning products, which you know if you've seen any of my cleaning videos. So I've used quite a few products from Blueland, who happen to be EPA Safer Choice certified. Like, I'm always home, so it's important for me to create not only a comfortable environment for me to be in, but one that's safe for me to spend the amount of time that I do, because I think we kind of underestimate how harmful using a lot of chemicals can be, especially on such a regular basis. Like, I know people who don't even open their windows, so imagine that with fumes. And my dishes are no exception. In fact, they may be the most important because they make direct contact with everything that we ingest. However, I am not a fan of those plastic wrapped dishwasher pods, so I much prefer a powder or a pressed tablet like these. I'm literally making bread, bagels, granola, like every 3 days it seems. Therefore, the dishwasher runs promptly at 8. So these are really convenient because I'll admit I do make quite a mess, but unlike the liquid pods, these have more abrasive power. So I've noticed that dishes come out cleaner with no residual food or stains. And since they're hypoallergenic, made with naturally derived ingredients, I don't have to worry about having any reactions with my skin being as sensitive as it is lately. And of course, I also love that they provide sustainable packaging as well, so I can just refill the tin and compost or recycle any of the packaging that comes along with the tablets, and there's no single-use plastic. So if you want to try them too, Blueland is sharing a special offer just for my viewers. All you have to do is click my link below to get 15% off your first kit. For full effect, I'm topping the tiramisu chia pudding with vanilla yogurt, which I would recommend that you actually sweeten if it isn't already, and maybe even if it is, so that you can help curb the bitterness of the cocoa powder dusted on top. Or maybe you could just sweeten the cocoa powder, I don't know, but I'm not using one that is sweetened. This is just raw cacao. Since I'm eating this whole thing for breakfast, I didn't want to sweeten it a lot because I didn't have any dates. But remember, you do want to sweeten this in general more than you would normally because we're compensating for the fact that it is cold. Top tip for picking a good watermelon, other than a dark rind and the yellow spot on the bottom, look for webbing. This is webbing. And the reason you want it is because it's a sign that the watermelon is sweet. I found udon in the freezer, so I paired it with some braised tofu yet again, because the combination of the gochujang and the chewy noodles reminds me of tteokbokki. So I finished this with a little bit of vegan cheese, and this was a brand that I actually haven't used before, so I did take a risk, but it ended up being pretty good. For breakfast, I had a smoothie and avocado toast with some sauteed greens. And while I was in the kitchen, I also prepared a cold steep and I made walnut milk. By midday, I'm gonna need a matcha. But instead of a latte, which is what I normally go for, I decided to make a matcha tonic. And naturally, I had to add Yuzu because you already know. I've actually never used this brand before though, because my favorite Yuzu drink is just not super easy to find outside of Whole Foods anyway. So if you see it, I would highly recommend that you use it for this recipe. I've also been meaning to make a banana bread matcha, so I made a quick syrup, and I have never been more upset at myself for not measuring or writing anything down because this was so good. The issue though is that I only had like a couple tablespoons of agave left to start with, so I had no choice but to make a little bit, but I'm hoping that I can recreate that like exactly because it was perfect. I also want to make a cream top version as well. As a matter of fact, looking for if there are vegan vanilla wafers so that I can make a banana pudding matcha latte. That's what this got me thinking about. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have saw me thrifting a few weeks ago. I bought a cold brew maker from like the 80s or something, which I picked because of the picture. So I'm gonna use that to make some hibiscus tea. With the walnut milk, I made a carrot cake smoothie because one of you commented recently that you still make it after me first sharing it in a video. And I'm pretty sure that was from like 2020. So that reminded me that, yeah, I ain't had it in a while either. Thank you for that because I missed this. Because I didn't have dates though, I used raisins and I want to say that was a good substitute. Oh, and with the rest of the walnuts, I put them through the food processor to just grind them up into a smaller meal, which I'm adding to the lentils and seasoning like taco meat because I'm going to be making taco lettuce boats. But you can also use the pulp that's left over from making the walnut milk because although I didn't show it, I did put that through a nut milk bag. You can also use a fine mesh strainer or cheesecloth.